Hi everybody, I've been giving a lot more thought to the MCP. I thought I would build some spreadsheets, do some numbers, see if we can figure something out. So let's take a deep dive. So the MCP program I think is getting close. We obviously have the wait list working now, and if you recall, I wasn't sure, I had to read it. I'll link the article below, but with all these MCP points that we are accumulating now, we will be able to spend them on more entries into the wait list. You'll get to pick when. After 6 months, they will expire, so you want to use them. Okay, let's put that over here. The other thing that we don't know is how much is an entry. Is it going to be 1,000? Is it going to be 500? But I've just kind of arbitrarily picked 25,000, and you can see here on the chart that 2,300. That gets you around 10 or 11 extra entries, whereas if it was 250 points per entry, you could get 100 additional entry points. So let's talk through this, and I don't want this to be a crazy math oriented video, but I do think and if you want to skip ahead or jump around, I'll give you all the answers right here. Basically the MCP program, depending on how they do it, either way and any way, and all the ways that I have done calculations, you're going to want to have MC points to buy these entries. And it's going to make a huge difference. I will also add that this is not financial advice. I did, flash my little thing below. But, I have really no idea how they're really calculating it. And, of course, they could change it again. So this is kind of speculation, maybe reckless speculation, maybe educated guessing. That's what I'm going to call it. Okay, so without getting into crazy math and probability and other things, which, it's arguable if I even understand anymore. It's been so long since I took those math classes. But it's kind of like you want to think about it like deck of cards. So there's 52 cards in a deck. You get a hand. They generally give you, 5 cards if you're playing poker or something like that. What are your chances of getting an ace? That type of mentality applies here. The interesting thing, though, is that when people buy more entries, the number of cards in the deck grows. And if you are one of the people that, didn't buy tickets, you still get the same hand, whereas these other people get much larger hands. And the deck of cards has grown. So that's really the interesting thing. Once again, I don't want to get into all the crazy mathematics on it. I do have a spreadsheet, so if you want to look at my math, and there's a lot of chances that there's something wrong with it, so I'll talk about that later. But I want you just to think about the fact that the more people buy these entries, the pool gets larger. And if you have only one chance at the pool and the pool has gotten larger, your odds have gotten much, much worse. Let me just do some numbers here quick. I'll flash some stuff on the screen. We'll go fast, and I'll try to get to the end as quickly as possible, but I think it's good for you to see. So here I have our current system. The current system, and the reason why I picked this kind of 30,000 users and 3,000 mints is that's kind of like the average that we're seeing. And if you look at some various different websites, they say we have about 30,000 people going for going for drops. So that's why I picked that. So here you can see that, if you had 30,000 users and you had, one shot at it like we do right now, and there's 3,000 mints, you'd have a 10% chance. That kind of logically makes sense. And I did some others here, it's 10,000 users or 5,000 users. There's only 5,000 users and there's 3,000 mints. You have a great shot of getting something, which is the case sometimes. Okay, so let's move to the new system of how I speculate how it will be. The thing that we want to look at and modify is the amount of entries. How many people are spending points and getting these entries? How does that change the thing? So you can see some of the numbers here. I'll put those up on the screen. So if everybody bought one entry, there would be now an additional 30,000 entries, so 60,000 total. You would now have 2 because you bought one more entry, so you have 2 chances now. And everything stays about the same for people who bought a ticket, but for those who didn't buy a ticket, they're down to 5% now. And then if you move ahead, you can see here that if everybody were to buy 10 entries, you still, because you're keeping up with the Joneses or whatever they want to say, you're still around 10%, but the people without a ticket now drop to under 1% chance. You can look at the numbers for yourself. Obviously, I did 20 entries and I did 50 entries, and you can see that, wow, it really, really does drop down And once again, it's more, think of it more of, if you don't participate and buy these tickets, you kind of are able to keep your chances. But when you don't, and you don't buy tickets and someone else does, your chances really, really drop off. This is what I kind of think will happen. I think that in this scenario that you're looking at right here, everybody buys 10 entries, but you buy double, which, pretend you're some whale or whatever, you know what I mean? And you can see that by doubling what the average person does, it substantially, or even tripling, it can substantially change your chances. Now, this is only, once again, for this exact setup when there's 3,000 mints and there's 30,000 users. Everything changes. I'll just do it for fun here. So you put up a different one so you can see it. Is if you were to change the mint number to 500, all the numbers change. Everything changes, and that's why I'm building this calculator to assist people in kind of doing these numbers. It's not exact, and I'm sure there's probably something maybe wrong with some of the math. I'm not, I don't want to say that this is perfect. Let's just kind of back up for a second and talk about what this all means from like a 10,000 foot level. So really what it means is that there is a significant amount of advantage to spending tickets or buying entries into the wait list versus not. And you're going to want to, and obviously you have to have the MCP points to do it. I think it's actually such a significant advantage that in the end, I actually think they'll probably end up doing kind of what they do with the bat cowls. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they have two. Initially, they set aside a reserve, and that's kind of you get to pick through that, and then you have the public. And they initially talked about that. I think they'll eventually go to that. I just think there's too much now an advantage potentially for people who have MCP points and who have a lot of MCP points. Obviously, they'll be able to do the numbers much better than I have, and they'll know really what's going on here. But from my initial thought process, wow, yeah, if you are able to buy tickets, it is going to be a massive advantage. And the chance of you getting some of these drops, I think, will be rather high with the numbers that I have. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I will update this video below. Once we learn more, I might do another one of these, update my spreadsheet, etc. Either way, thanks for watching. Take care.